Then Matthew continues, "And they departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did run to bring his disciples word." And then they meet Jesus. Mark has them leaving as well. "And they went out quickly and fled from the sepulchre, for they trembled and were amazed. Neither said they anything to any man, for they were afraid." Luke also has this. "And returned from the sepulchre and told all these things to the 11 and to all the rest." But before I put that any of them leave or even exit out from the sepulchre, I'm going to put John, that they speak directly to Mary Magdalene about why she is weeping, and then they see Jesus. Beginning at verse 13, "And they say to her, 'Woman, why weep you?'" This is going to be a bit hard to understand if all the women are there. So I think it's necessary to identify the angels are now speaking specifically to Mary Magdalene. They didn't have to do that in John because they only ever mentioned Mary Magdalene. But instead of using the word her, I need to bring a naming of Mary Magdalene right here. There is a time when Mary Magdalene was named at the beginning of chapter 20. In John, it only has her, Mary Magdalene. But because I combine that with Matthew and Luke, I have all three, Mary Magdalene and Joanna, Mary the mother of James, and certain other women with them. So I could take Mary Magdalene out of there, or I could go ahead of verse 13 to verse 18, where it says, "Mary Magdalene came and told the disciples." I think this is better because it wasn't just Mary Magdalene who came and told the disciples. It was all the women at the sepulchre. All the women saw Jesus, as explained in Matthew. So I'm going to take this Mary Magdalene, and when I get to that part later, I'll say the women, or they, whichever word is available from Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So beginning with John 20:13, "And they say to," and I'll put Mary Magdalene from verse 18. And continue on with verse 13. "Woman, why weep you? She says to them, Because they have taken away my Lord, and I know not where they have laid him. And when she had thus said, she turned herself back and saw Jesus standing, and knew not that it was Jesus. Jesus says to her, Woman, why weep you? Whom seek you? Jesus says to her, Mary. She turned herself and says to him, Rabboni, however you pronounce it, which is to say, Master. Now I can put that the women leave the sepulchre. Or maybe I'll save that for when they officially leave to go tell the disciples. I'm going to have that all the women see Jesus. John continues. Jesus says to her, touch me not. Again, I really don't think that means don't touch me at all, like even lay a finger on me. I think that means hold or cling. So it doesn't say anything about her hugging him or worshiping at his feet like it does in Matthew. Matthew has, and as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, All hail. If Mary saw Jesus and Jesus revealed himself to her, he must be revealing himself generally to all the women. He's saying her name, but if all the women are there, they're all going to know. So I am going to save this line from Matthew. They went to tell his disciples for when they actually officially leave, and I'll go right to, behold, Jesus met them saying. Actually, no, I can't even have Jesus met them because he already revealed himself to Mary. She turned herself, says to him, Rabboni, which is to say, Master. She's probably saying that loud enough that all the women hear. All the women are probably watching on as this is happening. So maybe I should then go to, they came and held him by the feet, and worshipped him. And then I can go back. Jesus met them. We're just saying, all hail. Okay. So I have to start with Matthew. None of this is in Mark. Or Luke. So Matthew And they came and held him by the feet and worshipped him. And yes, I know this worshipped has only one P, but that is how it's spelled in this version here. And worshipped him. Matthew, I could then say, Jesus met them saying, or Jesus said to them, all hail. What does John say? Jesus says to her. Okay, Jesus says. That's what I need. I would need some kind of transition word. And Jesus said, or then. There's nothing from Matthew. So I'll put then from the next verse. Then Jesus said to them, because this is kind of his response to them worshiping him. And I do have them worshiping him first, so I think I should still have then. Then from Matthew. Jesus from both Matthew and John. I'm not going to put saying from Matthew. I'll put says from John. John has to her. Matthew has to them. So to is both them from Matthew. And actually, because I'm going to go into first all hail, I'll probably say this. Jesus is from both 9 and 10. And this them is 9 and 10. Because I'm not going to have Jesus says them and Jesus met them 2 different times. I'm going to have all of Jesus' statement once. So instead of beginning with Jesus saying, touch me not, for I am not ascended to my Father, I'm going to put the all hail first. That seems like a good initial greeting. Matthew. All hail. Then I have be not afraid and touch me not. Should I have touch me not, be not afraid, or be not afraid, touch me not? They're probably freaking out, so be not afraid should come first. Be not afraid, touch me not. Go tell my brethren, that is in John. But go to my brethren. So before that, from both, I'm going to have from John, for I am not yet ascended to my Father. For I am not yet ascended to my Father. John continues, but go to my brethren. Matthew, go. So but is only John. Go is Matthew and John. Matthew, tell my brethren. John's to my brethren. To is where they're going. Tell is what they're doing. I think tell is more important. They are actually speaking. Tell is only Matthew. My brethren is Matthew and John. John continues, and say to them, I ascend to my Father and your Father. Matthew, that they go into Galilee. Okay, this is weird. Which can I have first? I ascend to my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God. That's like a departure. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Go to my brethren, tell them I am leaving. Matthew, go to my brethren, that they go into Galilee, there shall you see me. They do see him before he ascends, so maybe I should have go into Galilee, there you shall see me, and I will ascend. Like, that's going to be the order of things. I'll see you, and also I will ascend. Yeah. I'm going to have that they will see me first, then ascend last. like how it actually happens.